Well, the 2023 bodybuilding season is off to a hot start with what might be the most exciting Arnold Classic that we've seen in the last 10 years. But now that it's coming on, most people are probably wondering, what's next? Well, we have 18 Olympia Qualifiers coming up this season, and a lot of guys from last year still need to qualify. This is very exciting, and we have a lot to look forward to. So I'm going to tell you what there is to look forward to leading up to the Olympia, who is currently qualified, who needs to qualify, and speculate who will be competing at what shows. So starting off, we know that the top 5 from last year's Olympia are qualified. That being Hadi Choopan, Derek Lunsford, Nick Walker, Brandon Curry, and Big Ramy. Outside of those top 5, we have Brett Wilkin, who was the first person qualified when he won the Big Man Pro weekend in November of 2022. And of course, with Samson winning the Arnold Classic, he is also qualified. So that means there are a lot of big names left that still need to compete this year to qualify for the Olympia, which is going to make for a very fun season. The first of the 18 Olympia qualifiers is the Arnold Classic South America, which is just a little over a month away and is taking place on April 14th to 16th. This show will be taking place in Brazil. I do know that Sergio Oliveira Jr. was planning to compete in this show, but now that I've learned that he was arrested in Dubai after a car accident where somebody got killed, I'm not sure if he will compete or not, because he's currently in jail. Last year at this show, we had a top 3 of Rafael Branado, Victor Hugo Buff, and Theo Lins Adeo. I'm speculating that we will see these 3 guys back again since it is their home country of Brazil. We know that Rafael finished in 10th place last year at the Olympia, so this will be our very first look at him since, and I'm expecting some major improvements. He's only 29 years old with an incredibly aesthetic physique. He just needs more size. And last year, there was only a 2-point difference between first and second place between Rafael and Victor, so I'm expecting a battle again this year. This is going to be a very fun show, I think. On to number 2 of the 18 qualifiers, we have the New York Pro. Aside from the Olympia and Arnold, this is probably the 3rd biggest show of the year. This usually attracts big names as it is considered prestigious to have a New York Pro win. This year the show will be taking place on May 20th and will be held in New Jersey actually. Last year, Blessing Awadabu was the winner, beating out Andrea Presti and Max Charles fairly easily. So I'm speculating that Blessings will return to the show again this year since he won it back in 2022. In 2021, Nick Walker took home the first place, and also in 2020, Ian Valliere took home the win. So as you can see, this show usually attracts some pretty good competition. Now this show may be on Ian's radar since he won it before, but I may have some information that would say otherwise. So we'll get to that. Another thing I want to note on, Carlos Thomas Jr. is also making his pro debut at this show. Carlos is a 6-foot-tall mass monster, so he will definitely be looking to make a statement at this show, and I'm excited to see what he can bring to the stage for his pro debut. Moving on to number 3 of 18, we have the California State Pro. This year it will be held in Anaheim, California on May 27th, just 1 week after the New York Pro actually. Now, we already know that Patrick Moore is confirmed for the show, and from a recent Instagram post, it looks like Tonio Burton is also planning to do this show. Patrick has definitely made some great improvements since his Achilles tendon injury, and as we just started the Arnold Classic, so I expect an even better Pat at the California State Pro and an absolute battle with Tonio, because he's looking absolutely freaky right now. Last year, Charles Griffin dominated this show, so I'm speculating that we may see him back again to go head-to-head with Patrick and Tonio. Even though Charles is 41 years old this year, he still has an incredible physique, very aesthetic and good symmetry. Charles actually placed 14th in the Olympia last year, so he has a very high chance to beat Pat and Tonio. Next, we have number 4 of 18, which is the Toronto Pro, being held in Toronto, Ontario on June 4th. Last year, we had a dominating win from Mohamed Shaban, but I don't think this will be quite as an easy show this year because I'm speculating that Ian Valliere might have this on his radar. If you look at this story that Ian posted on his Instagram a couple days ago, this kind of makes me think that he's planning to do the show. I mean, why else would he respond to that question like that? And I think this will be a very good show for him to compete in since he is living back in Canada right now since the Olympia. Toronto is very close to Ottawa, and it also gives him a full 3 months to prep for this show. And if Ian doesn't do this show, I think he's going to tackle the Vancouver Pro. That's my speculations. Another person I know who is confirmed for this show is Morgan McDonald. And a lot of you guys probably don't know who this is because he flies off the radar while he's living in Newfoundland, Canada. He's an absolute mass monster. He stands around 6'2", and I think he weighs in around 300 plus pounds in his off season and competes around 290. So you know he's going to bring a crazy presence to that stage just because of his sheer size. He won his pro card back in 2021, and he took over a year off to add size in preparation for his pro debut. So this is going to be very exciting to see what he can bring to the stage. Moving on to number 5 of 18, we have the Empro Classic Pro in Spain being held on June 18th. Last year, this show did not include open bodybuilding, but this year it will. Last year, the headline of the show was Classic Physique. Fabian Mayer took home the win. So honestly, I'm not really sure what to expect from this show since there was no open class bodybuilding last year, but I mean, it's in Spain, and Spain usually puts on good venues, so I'm expecting good things. This could be a good opportunity for some overseas guys to get in, like Andrea Musi, Theo Liguria, or even Michael Crizzo. I'm excited to see what Michael can bring, his freakish arms, and he's going to be improved from the Olympia, and it's just going to be really exciting to see what he can bring because I think for sure he can crack the top 10 or even the top 7 this year in the Olympia. Moving on to number 6 of 18, we have the Puerto Rico Pro being held in San Juan on June 24th and 25th. Last year we had Hassan Mustafa finishing in first place, followed by Theo Laguerriere in second. Hassan did not go on to compete in the Olympia, but Theo did, where he did not place. This is a fantastic show put on by a very small country, but due to its location and time frame, it usually does not attract many big names. So this is a great opportunity for the lesser known guys to sneak in and get a qualification for the Olympia, and try to make a name for themselves. Number 7 of 18, we have the Orlando Pro, being held on July 1st. Last year, Hassan Mustafa also won this show, having went 2 for 2 in his pro shows in 2022. So I'm going to speculate that Hassan will be back to compete in one of these shows, either the Puerto Rico Pro or the Orlando Pro, or maybe both. Maybe he will dominate again. This show always has the chance to bring in some big names just due to its location of being in Orlando. And now that the Olympia is coming back to Florida, this might entice competitors to come to a show there and get a feel for the Florida weather. I don't know, I think this one might be my sleeper show of the year. I think there's a lot of potential to get some really big names to this show, so I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. Number 8 of 18, we have the Mr. Big Evolution Pro in Portugal, being held on July 9th. And as you can see, this is where a lot of shows start to bottleneck. From July to November, there's almost an Olympia Qualifier every weekend, a very exciting time of year to be a bodybuilding fan. There will be a lot of people in prep during this time of year to get that Olympia qualification that everybody wants. Last year, there was a whopping 14 competitors in this show with a pretty close top 3 between Andrea Presti, Andrea Mosey, and Peter Klenzer. Andrea Presti and Andrea Mosey both went on to compete in the Olympia where they did not place. So I'm definitely expecting improvements from both of these guys. And also, I expect to see them in many shows just like they did last year. They just love to compete, it seems, or they just can never get that win to get to the Olympia. But in all seriousness, I wish more guys competed way more often. In order to grow this sport, you need your big name competitors competing in a lot of shows, but unfortunately, most of them just compete in the one, which is the Olympia, or just one show to get their qualification. And this is kind of holding back the sport to grow more fans, I think. Number 9 of 18, we have the Vancouver Pro being held on July 14th to 16th, the second of only 2 pro shows in Canada. This show usually attracts some top tier Canadian competitors. Last year, Ian Valliere took home the win with Antoine Valiant coming in second place. I speculated earlier that if Ian does not do the Toronto Pro, he will do this show. He has competed in this show many times, so he is very familiar with it, and he would also be the favorite to win in my opinion, so it's kind of a safe show for him to do. I do know that Regan Grimes still has to qualify for the Olympia as well, and he has said that he would like to compete in the June to July range, so if he doesn't go to the Orlando Pro, I think Regan will have his sights set on this show, since he is also from Canada. And if we were somehow able to get Regan and Ian going head to head, this would be a very interesting battle with some of the best Canadian bodybuilders we have right now. I hope this comes true because this would be an extremely hyped show and do some great things for the Canadian bodybuilding scene. And also, they both have very big followings. This is what bodybuilding is all about. If you get 2 big guys like this going head to head, it just draws so much attention and it's just so exciting to see them both posing off on stage. It's like a Jay Cutler versus Ronnie Coleman on a very lower scale, essentially. But on to number 10 of 18, we have the Chicago Pro on July 21st and 22nd. The Chicago Pro is another very iconic show similar to the New York Pro. Many big names like Hunter Labrada, Akeem Williams, Antoine Valiant have won this show in the past years, so as you can tell, it generally attracts some good competition. Now, I'm not sure what Antoine's competition plans are yet this year. The only thing he has alluded to on Instagram is potentially competing in the Arnold Classic next year, so I don't know if we will see him back at this show, but there is a possibility. And this could also be a really good show for Akeem if he wants to get back to the Olympia. It would definitely allow him to get a very nice offseason in before beginning this prep, so timing-wise, it would be a very good fit. Number 11 of 18, we have the Big Man Spain Pro Show on July 30th this year. This is the show that Brett Wilkin won to earn his first Olympia qualification for the 2023 show. Previously, Angel Calderon won the show in 2021. This would be another good chance for Michael Krizo to have on his radar since it is overseas and relatively close to him, so potentially we could see a Michael Krizo at this show. Number 12 of 18, we have the Tampa Pro being held on August 3rd to 5th. And we know that Hunter Labrada will be competing in this show, one of 2 shows that he plans to compete in leading into the Olympia. So this is going to be a very exciting show as we get to see if Hunter can actually nail his peak this time and to see if his new diet is actually working to bring in his waistline. Previous winners of this show are Akeem Williams in 2022, Ian Valliere in 2021, and in 2020, Hunter edged out Ian for the victory. So, same as previous years, this will be a very exciting show to look forward to, and who knows? Ian could have this on his radar for all I know, since he does live part-time in Florida, and this would make for an epic 2020 rematch, but I think it would be too risky for him since there's much safer shows for him to do. Number 13 of 18, we have the Texas Pro being held on August 19th. Hunter Labrada will also be competing in this show, doing back-to-back shows to figure out his peak and maybe try some different options to really dial it in so he can come in perfect for the Olympia. Andrew Jack won this show last year, so it would be very fun to see Andrew back again to go head-to-head with Hunter. This will make for a super exciting show. And honestly, I think there's a decent possibility of this. Andrew is very confident, and with a good offseason from now into August with Chris Psycho Lewis, he would be probably the favorite for this show. This is why this season could be very interesting. We might have some really good head-to-head matchups coming up at a bunch of these shows, and I'm really here for it. Next, number 13 of 18, we have the Yamamoto Pro Italy being held on September 9th and 10th. This is another good opportunity to see some overseas guys compete for that Olympia qualification. And there's one thing that pops in my mind about this show. I don't know if Andrew Jack will be continuing to stay in the United States, but if he does go back to Dubai for an off-season and to prep, this could be a target show for him. Italy is very close to Dubai, only around a 6-hour flight away. So, I mean, this could be in his radar. We could see him at this Italy Pro show. But obviously, this is just all speculation. Number 15 of 18, we have the European Pro Championships being held in Spain on September 19th. This later part of the season where we see most of the overseas shows occur, with only one show being left in North America before the Olympia. In previous years, we had Nathan Diasha winning the show in 2021 and Theo Lagarriere winning in 2022. Number 16 of 18, we have the Yamamoto Pro France being held on September 28th and September 29th. Patrick Johnson won the show in 2022 and went into place 13th at the Olympia. Patrick has a very aesthetic physique and brings very good conditioning and posing. I definitely think Pat will take on one of these overseas shows because he does reside in Europe, so it's just the easiest for him. And with some improvements, Pat could very well sneak into that top 10 at the Olympia, especially with the aesthetic narrative that's currently ongoing. Be on the lookout this year for Patrick Johnson to make some noise, I think. Number 17 of 18, we had the Legion Sports Fest Pro being held in Reno, Nevada on October 8th. This is the last show in North America for Olympia qualification. So we could see some people scrambling into this show that have not made a qualification yet. And with the amount of talent we have this season, there could be some quality guys still left. Last year, Tonio Burton took home the win with Justin Rodriguez coming in second. Also, the fact that this show is in Nevada could also increase the chances that we could see some higher profile guys. Maybe some qualified guys will want to test out their peaks before heading into the Olympia. This would be a great opportunity, especially someone like Regan Grimes since he currently resides in Las Vegas. This could easily turn into an interesting show and we could see some Olympia previews. And finally, number 18 of 18, the last show that you can qualify for the 2023 Mr. Olympia, the Italy Pro being held in October 8th. I can't really find much information on this show, but it looks like it's an Olympia amateur show and there will also be a pro show. So I'm just assuming a win at this pro show would earn an Olympia qualification. I could be wrong, and if I am, please let me know in the comments. And with this build up, all of these shows are leading into the 2023 Mr. Olympia that will be held on November 3rd to November 5th in Orlando, Florida. This is shaping up to be an even more competitive show than last year, and I did not think that would be possible after watching the 2022 Olympia. But here we are. I'm going to throw out an early prediction for the Olympia win, and I know it's way too early, but I'm going to do it anyway. My guess is that Derek Lunsford is going to come in bigger and better, and just with his V-taper, it's going to get him the win and beat out Hadi Chupan. This could be controversial, but that's just what I'm going to say for now. But anyway, guys, thanks for everybody staying to watch to the end. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and I'll see you in the next one.